Wow, this is amazing. This is not my speech, but it has to do with something. Has to do with something about my speech, and it was given to me by a player tonight, and I'll get into that a little bit later. And no, this is not the same coat that I wore in 1979. Okay, so this is a new coat, and I'm proud to wear it. I bought it a year and a half ago, and I never knew that Fred would call me on April 12th and tell me I'd get in the Hall of Fame, and so I had a chance to wear it tonight. So I'm really excited about that. And but congratulations to my fellow recipients. It's a privilege to be included in this special group. It is heartwarming to see so many people in the room tonight who have meant so much to me, an important part of my life. I would like to recognize my wife, Joy. We just celebrated 50 years of marriage in July. My daughter Megan and her husband Matt. My daughter Heather, who couldn't be with us this evening. My sister Marta, who traveled from Pennsylvania to be out here. And the many friends, coaches, players, managers, trainers, colleagues in attendance tonight, I'd all like you to stand because I don't want to miss anybody. Please, everybody that's been associated with me, please stand up. I'm honored that you're here. Every one of you, and many who could not be present, is what has brought me to this place. And in this most humbling recognition. You know, life is a journey. Mine began 53 years ago in western Pennsylvania, a small steel town that all we thought about was steel and football. Raised by parents of the greatest generation, a work ethic was established early on, and they led by example, my parents. My dad is still alive. He's 96. My mother passed away at 82, when she was 82. In spite of being the smallest high school in western Pennsylvania, and we were really small, in 4 grades, we only had 180 people. My graduating class was 42. We had no busing. We walked to class, walked home for lunch, walked over back to class, had practice, walked home, did our own laundry. I mean, when I came to college, I couldn't believe they did our laundry for us. It was unbelievable. But we won a Class B championship in my senior year in western Pennsylvania, the smallest class. It was Class B, under our football coach, Joe Zellick, who was from Johnstown, Pennsylvania. And I got we had a lot of people who weren't superstars, but they were solid individuals, and we worked for each other. And our coaches taught us that in high school. And I just want to say about my induction into moving. I went to a Catholic school up until 8th grade. We didn't play football. I didn't start playing football until I was in the 9th grade. So 9th grade, I finished our freshman season, and we have 2 more varsity games left. So my coach says, Mauro, you're dressing for the game. Come to the practice, you're dressing for the game. So I go to the game. I'm 9th grade. I have 35 first cousins. 5 of them are on the football team. But I'm not playing. I'm a freshman. My dad had 8 brothers and 3 sisters. So I'm standing there, and we're beating the team pretty good. And the people in the stands start yelling, "We want Mauro. We want Mauro." And my coach is starting to turn around and get a little agitated, so he calls me over. He says, "Mauro, get over here." I said, "Yeah, coach." He said, "Would you go up in the stand and see what the hell they want you for?" After I graduated, I was recruited to play football by Phil Dickens, a fine coach and an even better man, tough but always fair. His teams produced several pro players, including Don Krofcheck, Tom Gallagher, who are here tonight, and at least one highly decorated war veteran, Rich Cochise, who is in attendance tonight with his wife, Kay. True examples of Hoosier pride. Brad Bomba was my team physician during those years. He saved my life while suffering epileptic seizure after practice. He also delivered two of my greatest gifts, Heather and Megan. And I am forever thankful for all that he has meant to our family. Dr. B. I wouldn't be here without him. In 1965, John Palm was hired as our football coach. Had it not been for a knee injury requiring surgery, I would have never been on the cardiac kids team in 1967. The injury didn't hurt so bad. When I got to play on a team that was ranked number 4th in the country and get an honor to go represent the Big Ten in the Rose Bowl, it was unbelievable. I can still remember this day, Terry Cole's runs, Jaden Erick's catches, Kaz's stop, Bachman's recovery of the fumble, Iso's kick into Purdue. Everyone thinks it was Kaz's hit and Bachman's recovery, but it was me who had to snap the ball on the 4-yard line, and Eisenberger had to kick a 64-yard punt for us to win the game. And Doug Cruzan got the defense to stop him in the last part of the game, so thank you, Doug. But, you know, the pain was definitely worth the gain because we went to the Rose Bowl, we represented the Big Ten, we played before 100,000 people, many of them Hoosiers. It was unbelievable, the people and the support we had at the game. My dad never flown before, and I think our team doctors had to give him some Valium to get on a plane and get him to the Rose Bowl. But he got there, and I was so pleased that he did. My dad was a postman. He would drive on Old Route 40. We didn't have Interstate 70. 14 hours after he worked all day to see me play. I'm very pleased to have two of our coaches from our storied season with us, our Rose Bowl team. Nick Morosis and his wife, Marilyn, and Jay Fry. Also in attendance is Sally Fairfield, representing her husband, Herb, my position coach. Sally. I love you. All great families and outstanding role models, including Mr. Indiana, Howard Brown. Well, it was a little strange in my 5th year in the sense that the NCAA did not allow you to graduate and still have eligibility at that time. So I had to cut back on my classwork. So my 5th year, I had 6 undergraduate hours and 6 graduate hours in order to be eligible to play on the 67 team. And it was really strange, but I got a little bit of my master's paid for, so it was kind of nice. I was very fortunate that John Pont saw something in me as a 24-year-old to coach on a Division I level. Nobody does that today. And I don't know what he saw, but I'm certainly appreciative to him and his family and Sandy that he allowed me to coach. Don reiterated, I was a freshman coach, moved up to the offensive line. I coached with John at Northwestern. I came back with Lee, and I appreciate the kind words that Lee has given my family. A little funny story about Lee, Coach Dickens calls me and he says, Harold, I want you to come back and coach at Indiana. No, I'm at Northwestern. I says, why ain't Coach Corso calling me, Coach? I said, you the new head coach? Did they get rid of him? He said, no. He didn't want to upset your head coach, and he wanted to just see if you were even interested in coming back to Indiana. So I said, I'll talk to my coach, and I'll give you a call back. So I did. I talked to John. I said that Indiana had approached me about coming back to coach, and so we set up a meeting, and Lee came up, and I interviewed with him, and I returned to Indiana in 1977. And it was a great move for us. At that time, Lee was in his, I think he came in 73, so he was just starting out, and so he asked me to be his line coach, and I did. And so in 79, we had a very good football team. Many of the young men are in the room today, and that's what these are all about. One of my players, these are the game plans. Only a coach would understand this, right, Coach Mallory? These are the game plans of the offensive blocking against all the teams we played in 1979. It's amazing. And only I would cherish this, but I'm going to keep these. So, but after I finished my master's, and I did finish my master's, my only head coaching job was I was 8th grade football coach at University School. It used to be a laboratory school with the university. And We finished undefeated and won the city championship. So as a head coach, Coach Bill, I finished undefeated in my only stint of being a head coach. Playing Brigham Young was a tough assignment. I mean, they were undefeated, 11-0. They were about a 14-point favorite over us. So we go out there and play, and thanks to Tim Wilbur and many of the guys who had great plays during that game, we're up 38-37 with little time left. They're driving the ball. They're down on our about 18-yard line. Their kicker had not missed all night. They line up to kick a field goal, and so Lee calls timeout to ice them. He's going to ice them. So we're over there, and he turns to Father Higgins, and Father Higgins was a priest who was with the Newman Center that used to travel with the football team, okay? So Lee turns to Father Higgins, and he said, "Father, it's you against 6 million Mormons." So they line up the kick. The kid kicks the ball. He misses it to the left. We win the game. And Lee turns to Father Higgins, and he said, "Thank you, God." I spent the final year of my coaching here at Indiana University with Sam Weish as the offensive coordinator. In addition to a brilliant offensive mind, Sam was also a very accomplished magician. And his disappearance after less than 1 year as head coach is one trick many of us will never forget. It's interesting, he was here just 10 months, and he calls me Christmas Eve because I was his coordinator. He says, "Sam, I said, Coach, what are you doing?" He says, "I need to call you." I said, "Oh." He says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm putting presents under my Christmas tree for my kids." He said, "Well, Paul Brown just called me and offered me the Cincinnati Bengals jobs. What do you think?" I said, "Can you take me with you?" But what happened was Paul Brown had just given his assistant coaches 3-year contracts, and so he couldn't break the contract, so none of us ever got the opportunity. But this man up here that gave this little talk, Lee Corso, next day he called. He says, "Harold, can I help you guys find jobs?" And that's so important. You find out who your real friends are when you don't have a job. After my brief coaching time with Sam Weish ended, I accepted a position with athletic administration and wore many hats in the 26 years I was an administrator. I spent 37 total years at Indiana for Northwestern, a total of 41 in athletics. The thing that I'm really proud about in those 41 years, I was never written up one time for an NCAA violation. So I'm really proud of that. And during those 37 years, and this shows you that I'm a survivor, I worked for 6 presidents, 10 athletic directors, and 9 football coaches. Transition to administration was made much easier with many great mentors that I had. You know, Ralph Floyd, Ed Williams, Clarence Doniger, Terry Claypax were all very helpful in my new role and assisted me in any way they could. There are, however, unique situations that arise that have no textbooks answers. One that stands out when I was only administrator for about a year and a half maybe, is one stands out during my tenure, has to do with Coach Knight. And John would remember this, and so would Don. He was the chair of February 23rd, 1985, IU versus Purdue. So after the game, the next day, I'm called into the athletic director's office, and he says, "Harold, I want you to fix this." I said, "Ralph, I've only been in a job 1 year. I know I have facilities, but how am I supposed to fix it?" He says, "You'll figure out a way that Coach Knight's not going to throw a chair ever again." So all week, man, I'm racking. What am I going to do? You know, if I put a lock on each chair, he's going to see it. He's going to know that I did it. And so I met with the physical plan and the administration at the university, and we come up with something. And Bill King, our ticket manager, really helped me formulate a plan that we could do it where it would work. So Bill flew airplanes, and he had cable that tied the plane down when the strong wind would come, okay? So I go out to the Monroe Airport, and I talked to the guy there, and he says, "Yeah, I think I have some cable." So he gave me about 150 feet. Well, as you know, we got many chairs down there. I think there's about 24, okay? So we devised a plan late at night when Coach didn't know we were there. We're down there almost like with miner hats on, flashlights. We're winding this wire down through the back of the chairs and put a lock at the end, okay? So the next game, okay, Coach is in there. He's kicking the chair, standing up, stomping on it. So he goes over. I'm going to move to the side a minute. And he reaches down. He goes, the chair went up about 4 inches and went back down. And he's looked in and looked like this and walks over nice. So the game was completed. And the next day, he knows I go into work early. So there I am, 6:45. There's a manager sitting in front of my door. He says, Coach Knight wants to see you. I said, oh, no. Coach Knight wants to see me. So I go up there, and he's behind his desk, and I walk in there, and he said, who in the hell told you to put that chain, he called it a chain, down through those chairs? I said, Coach, my boss. I said, he really likes you, and he didn't want to have to do something in case you threw another chair. And he said, well, you should have told me because it hurt my blank back. Bill Mallory was hired as IU's new football coach in 1984. He brought with him years of experience, success, and a great family. I was now supporting the football program from a different position. And with Coach Mallory at the helm, it was a very easy task. Those who played for him loved him, and those who did not wish they had, including me. Coach Mallory took IU to 6 bowl games in 13 seasons. He was Indiana's winningest coach. His overall record as a collegiate coach is 168, 129, and 4. Congratulations, Coach. I've been here 53 years, so it's going to take me a little bit. I'm almost done, though. Terry Hebner took over as head coach in 2005, and I accepted a position as director of football operations. It gave me the opportunity to once again be closely involved with the game that I loved. After the tragic loss of Coach Hebner in 2007, Bill Lynch assumed the head coaching role. He did an extraordinary job under extremely emotional and difficult circumstances. Coach Lynch led the Hoosiers to the Insight Bowl the same year. His departure from IU coincided with my planned retirement in 2010. He and his wife, Linda, are with us tonight. Thanks, Coach. As I reflect on my years, I am left with a strong sense of gratitude, grateful for the blessings and faith that sustained me, a loving and supportive family, a beautiful grandson, Andrew James, who looks down from heaven and inspires me every day, incredible friends, and a freedom of a country that allows us to follow whatever path we choose. In closing, I would leave you with a poem that describes my final thoughts. This author is unknown. Life is a journey of sweetness and sorrow, of yesterday's memory and hopes for tomorrow, of pathways we choose and detours we face with patience and humor, courage and grace, of joys that we've shared and people we've met who have touched us in ways we will never forget. I am blessed to receive this honor. Thank you.